Hey everyone, my guest today is Sidney Pines, an everyday American who started noticing many oddities in our country in 2020, leading her to do further research. She discovered many conspiracy theories that turned out to be true, so she decided to document everything that she had uncovered for her future descendants, which later turned into a book. Her first release, Awakening, A Patriot's Diary of American Deception, was rated #1 in new releases and is still gaining momentum. Her second book in the series comes out soon, as Sydney feels this story is far from over with. Welcome to the show, Sydney. I want to thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Would you be able to tell the audience a little bit about yourself and what you're working on?
Sure. 2019, I started noticing things that
Hmm.
took me by surprise and some different oddities in the world. And to be quite honest with you, with the news, the mainstream media.
Yeah.
And I noticed a lot of omissions of things that were done, things that were said. I noticed I would see live speeches on someone, and later that evening, the mainstream media would splice and take words out, and it got my attention.
Hmm.
And I decided I felt like whatever was transpiring in this world um, is going to go down in history someday. That was just my gut feeling back in 2019.
Okay.
So I decided to start taking notes,
Yeah.
and I've been doing it for 6 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Uh,
Yeah.
what What do you think some of the biggest things that you found, or you can just do in general? What were your findings?
Sure. It was I noticed several things. The reporters themselves,
Hmm.
I would see on the news that night like three reporters talking, rolling their eyes when talking about President Trump.
Hmm.
And it felt, and I know it sounds silly, but
Yeah.
for some reason it just threw a red flag at me.
Yeah.
And I says they're supposed to be, I thought to myself, they're supposed to be professional. And I'll never forget one day I was literally folding laundry while watching it. And I'm like, did that just happen? They're all
Yeah.
rolling their eyes at him and making fun of him and making fun of his clothes. And these are professional reporters about the potential president of the United States.
Yeah.
And yeah, and so I caught that. And then there was a speech that Trump gave that I watched on an alternative news station. It was actually Right Side Broadcasting.
Okay.
And he gave a wonderful speech and how much he admired any kind of farmer, whether it be cattle,
Mhm.
pigs, corn, soybean, and he admires them. They're the backbone of America, along with the military. So that, and it was a 45-minute speech. It was amazing. So that night on the mainstream media, they
Mhm.
showed about 10 seconds of it. And during that 10 seconds, they spliced the words together and they said that he said, the, the military are pigs. They took out certain words.
Yeah.
And I was flabbergasted. And my mom, who lived with us at the time, she was so upset that he said that. And I said, Mom, I saw the original speech.
Yeah.
And yeah, and she says, "Oh, the news wouldn't put it on there." Now, back then, I wasn't wide awake to the news, and she goes, "The news wouldn't put it on there if it wasn't true." And I says, "Well, think about it. If he really felt that way, which he doesn't, but if he did, let's pretend.
Mhm.
I don't think he'd be naive enough to say that on national airways.
Right.
He knows
Right.
that would destroy him. So it was just common sense. There's no way he said it. And I really thought everybody in the world would feel the same way I did. There's no way he would say that, even
Yeah.
without seeing the original. But no, a lot of people did. A lot of people
Yeah.
did, and it blew me away. And then there was another, I used to see all the time on the alternative stations how his family would go to these third world countries and help starving children and never talked about it on the
Mhm.
mainstream media, no articles about it. And it was almost like, why don't they want to show any of this? What are
Yeah.
they trying to do?
Yeah.
And and I think at that point I actually used the word brainwashing, but I thought, nah, Sydney, you've watched too many movies. There's no way, the world's not trying to brainwash people. Oh, no,
Right.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Oh,
So
behold.
then, yeah, so then the nail in the coffin was I saw with our own eyes, like many millions did. I saw the votes change on the night of 2020, you
Yeah.
know, right in front of
Yeah.
my eyes. Yeah.
I'll never forget that. So
Yes,
for the 2024 election, I refused to go to bed
me
until
too.
everyone confirmed it. Like, I took the
Yes.
night off work even
Yep.
'cause but
Yes. Well,
yeah.
I'll have to admit, I think it was about 1:30 in the morning. I'm like, okay, landslide, we got this. I was watching Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, I think I'm safe to go to bed. And I heard Charlie Kirk say, oh no, why am I having flashbacks of 2020?
I know. I
So
know.
I sat right back down. I'm like, I'm not going to bed.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
because there's that weird thing happening in Pennsylvania where they were bringing in votes last
Yes.
minute or whatever, and it's like,
Yep.
"Oh, my ass, this is happening again," you know?
Yes. Yes.
So,
I think we all
yeah.
feared that. I do.
Yeah.
And so it was shortly after 2020. And then a lot of people don't realize this. Well, maybe now they do. But at that time, November or December 2020, January 2021, they
Uh-huh.
were showing live hearings, Senate meetings on the stolen election.
Uh-huh.
They were airing them. Mainstream media didn't tell the public, but if you knew where to look, you'd find them. And I would see all these documents and videos and evidence and proof and proof. And
Yeah.
even the judge would say, oh, this is crazy. This is a horrible mark on our democracy. Something has to be done about this now. And you get
Yeah.
all excited. And then the next day, the fake news would say, oh, there's no proof and it was thrown out. I'm like, that's not what the judge said. I
Right.
watched them. And so that's when I'm like, okay, this is crazy. So then I literally kind of made a full-time job out of it.
Yeah.
I dug and I researched and I found channels and went down
Mhm.
rabbit holes. And that's when I said, okay, my grandkids, I don't have grandkids yet, but when I do, they're going to learn about it in school. I'll bet you they will.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is so cool. That is 'cause I kinda started doing a little bit similar things, and so
Mhm.
it's interesting to hear about, I guess how you did it. I started podcasting because I had so many people asking me questions about, like,
Mhm.
"Well, why did Trump do this? And why," and so I'm
Yeah.
like, "You know what? Instead of just responding to a million text messages, I'm gonna start giving the news from," I'm right leaning. I'm consuming more right leaning news,
Mhm.
but I try to fact check everything. So
Absolutely.
I'm just trying to summarize things for my solo episodes. Just try to summarize things so
Absolutely.
that information's out there.
Yes.
So
And it's funny you said you're right leaning and then you described all that. That's usually how the right leaning are. We don't want just one side. Right.
yeah, isn't that
Uh-huh.
interesting?
It is.
It's yeah.
Mm.
S- So you took a bunch of notes and then
Uh-huh.
you decided that they should be in a book. So
Yes. Yeah. So
okay,
after so what I did is I wrote it like in a diary format
okay,
because I wanted because in my head when I started this, I truly thought my adult kids knew I was doing this.
yeah,
So I'm like, okay, but I have 2 boys, boys aren't as emotional and into that stuff as girls are.
yeah,
So I'm like, they're gonna forget about it. Maybe when I die, they'll stumble upon it and they'll read it, my grandkids, great-grandkids, whenever. I wanted it to be interesting to them.
hmm
So I started it out as a diary and I threw in some personal stuff we did, some jokes we made. Just,
yeah,
I wanted it to be for them. Say, "Oh, I remember that." And as I'm writing, I'm like, what did it for me is one of my chat rooms. Well, I'm in several chat rooms, but one chat room in particular,
uh-huh,
the division, as you know, Sam, was crazy, crazy, and it was just not a good time. I mean, it's still kind of
yeah,
like that, the tension. And I saw in the chat room two particular people who you could hear their tears dripping
hmm
through the words because family members disowned them.
Yeah.
They disowned them because of their belief and because they support Trump, and they were devastated. And
Mhm.
one of them was a grandmother, and one of her grandchildren disowned her, and it broke my heart. But then on a personal level, and I still don't know where this person is. I know somebody who sent me messages, and she's like, "Sydney, it's so hard." She goes, "Both of my sons, they're diehard Biden, and they're telling me I have to snap out of it. They're telling me I'm crazy. They're saying the election wasn't stolen, and I don't know what I'm gonna
Mhm.
do. And my husband's getting aggravated, and I think I just need to stop everything. I already have one son that completely disowned me. Now my husband's talking about leaving me, and I felt so
Oh
bad
my
for her.
gosh.
Yeah, and then now she totally disappeared off everything. All social media, I don't have her phone number. I don't know where it's been 4 years, 4.5 years.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
yeah, so I'm like, "These notes might help someone."
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is it won't help save the world or anything, and there's gonna be a lot of people that read my books that might think, "Oh my god, she's out there." But, there's gonna be a lot of people who can relate to. I found out there's like 900 million people, because this is global, 900
Yeah.
million people in the world that feel the same way I do. So I feel it shows our point of view. It's
Mhm.
like we didn't just wake up one day and say, "We love Trump," and that's it. We're not gonna
Yeah.
listen to anything else. That there's a reason. There's things
Yeah.
we stumbled across. There's videos we watched. And most conservatives did do their research,
Mhm.
and they put two and two together if the news was not telling us the truth. And so it's our point of view. Hey, I stumbled upon this. And there's a lot of stuff I stumbled upon that are not in the book.
Yeah.
Just because, I would go down that rabbit hole, I would do some research and be like, okay, but this says this, but it contradicts this, so I'm not going to put it in there. Now, that does not mean that everything in my book is 100% correct, because it's not. But I will say this, like the beginning of book one,
Mhm.
I think all of the conspiracy theories that I listed are already out. The truth already came out because book one was
Right.
started in, right, 2020. It's 6 years later. So a
Yeah.
lot of that stuff I wrote about did come true. And if there's 100% conspiracy theories, I feel there's only like 6% left that have to be exposed still. Most of them
Yeah.
came to fruition. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought if anything else, somebody might stumble across this. Now,
Mhm.
I don't mean to speak ill of any particular type of person, but there are a lot of people that they might read the first page and I'm not reading this. They don't want to
Right.
hear it.
Yeah.
But I'm
Yeah.
hoping somebody who disowns somebody reads it and says, I need to call grandma. I don't
Yeah.
agree. I don't agree with what's written, but at least now I know why grandma thought that. I see
Right.
why, yes. So, and then the people who, um, are like us, they can relate because I put in
Yeah.
there the feelings and praying that the world could be united again. And a lot of people don't realize, like on the left, we're not bad people. You
Right.
know, we the me people means everyone, not just we the
Right.
conservatives. Yeah, we
Yeah.
we want nothing more than to get back together and stop this division.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, and that is something that I do try to remind myself. I mean, I think differently of the paid protesters, but generally the people on the left, they want what's best for our country and their loved ones, just like the people on the right. They want what's
Hmm.
best for our country and their loved ones. We just have different ways of thinking about it.
Correct. Oh,
Um,
that's a good point. Yes, you're right.
yeah. But but there's also the brainwashing part where it's like,
I know.
the the media is making it really hard for people who trust in these mainstream medias to,
Yes,
it makes it harder for them to trust the people on the right, or
it
I don't
does.
know. I don't
That's
understand. I've tried to talk to people who who are on the left that message me and are concerned about things. And I try
uh-huh.
to explain to them, well, this is why, or actually that's a lie, or blah, 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 blah. And please, I just say, if you're not going to do the research, stop watching the news. Just
Right.
stop, because
Right.
you're only going to get upset over and over and over again, because apparently their job now is just to scare the crap out of people and cause hate and
Definitely.
division.
Yep.
So,
And they succeeded. That's the sad part. They succeeded. And
yes. Yeah.
yeah, it's really sad. Yep.
Yep.
And so when I decided to get it published, I had to be very careful
Mhm.
because it's so, conservative.
Yeah.
And so I did find a publisher and who said they specialize in conservative. So I'm like,
Okay.
the answer is always no if you don't ask. All I
Yeah.
can do is I typed up a synopsis. All I could say is, "Hey, listen, I'm not a whistleblower. I have no inside information. This is
Yeah.
average American's point of view.
Yeah.
And this is what I did." And I got a response instantly. They said, "We no doubt want it." And
Really?
yeah, yeah.
That's awesome.
So, and then the funny thing is when I'm like, "Oh my God, a great publishing house wants to partner with me."
Yeah.
And since I wasn't a writer, I was really excited. I sent it to them and I was in the edit stage. So I
Okay.
was really excited to get them back because I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, they're going to doctor this up. It's going to sound magnificent." When I got it back, it was all the same.
Oh.
So yeah. So I was a little disappointed. So I kind of reached out and they said, "No, that's what makes this book so unique. It's in your words. We're not
Yeah.
changing anything." So they have a great reputation, so they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And then I thought, okay, in a way, that's a good thing. That's definitely a good thing because it's an everyday talk. It's not
Yeah.
one of those books where you have to Google the big words. And yeah, it's very, very simple. It's very easy to understand. And it's also very raw. It's
Yeah.
not for the weak at heart. There's some parts I'm not nice. And
Yeah.
you could tell the parts I was frustrated with the world
Yeah.
and with
Yeah.
the division, and then other
Yeah.
days where I was thinking positive. You could definitely tell the difference.
Yeah.
Um, so it is an easy read for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
That's really cool. I
Yeah.
like books that are unique like that.
Mhm.
Can you say who the publisher is on here?
Defiance Press.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Mhm.
I would have figured it out when I usually put like an
Yeah.
image of the book up and everything. But yeah, I was just
Right.
curious. So,
Yeah. No problem.
how do you feel about this the BBC edited video footage from January 6th? Isn't that
Yes,
crazy?
it is. But after what I saw with my own ear or my own eyes and heard with my own ears, it didn't surprise me. In fact, when
Oh,
I
yeah.
read that, I'm like, "Here we go again." Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
the funny thing is with that first thing I saw edited, um, they found out who it was, of course, and Trump's only punishment that he instilled upon him was he's blackballed from the journalistic world,
Uh-huh.
and he had to give a public apology. And he did, but the
Yeah.
MSM did not show the apology or the real clip.
Of
So the
course.
apology was useless. Yeah. And there's
Yeah.
people still out there that thinks he said military are pigs.
And
Yeah.
I think that that's a perfect example of why Trump is actually suing people now. He doesn't need their money, but you gotta hit him where it hurts, or they're gonna
Yes.
continue to attack him that way.
Absolutely. You have to set boundaries because they're just going to
Yeah.
keep throwing those daggers at him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And people still use the find people on both sides, or Biden was still saying that fake thing about a comment made, I think, at Arlington Cemetery, or I mean, even though these things have been debunked, that it's been proven that it was tampered with and edited to make Trump look bad, the
Mhm.
left still repeats it over and over
Absolutely.
again.
They don't want to hear the proof. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, like even the difference, when Trump was banned completely, they took him off everything,
Mhm.
social media. And I know for a fact, I've never been a fan of Obama or Biden, but I
Yeah.
know for a fact if someone like a Mark Zuckerberg silenced Obama or Biden, I would have done research. I would have been,
Mhm.
okay, how is that possible? How could a Facebook mogul silence the president of the United States? It doesn't make sense to me. And
Right.
I don't even like them, but I would have still looked into it because I would have been like, what are they trying to hide? What's up with Obama? But it would have raised a red flag.
Yeah.
And And, the left, when he got silenced, they're dancing in the streets. And I just would wonder how do you think that's okay? You know, I
Yeah.
and I think that's the difference sometimes between far right and far left is, we are willing to hear the other side. We do want to look
Yeah.
at all avenues, and they are just one sided. But
Yeah.
not all of them. But
Of
I think a
course.
lot of people, yes, and I do think a lot of people are quote unquote waking up.
Yeah.
I saw on X just recently, um, very recently, just like 4 days ago,
Mhm.
someone had posted that, a lot of things in the world aren't making sense to me. I decided to follow the channels you guys follow, and thank you for educating me.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm worried about this world. Up until 4 days ago, I was a Democrat. So there are people that,
Oh,
are
yeah.
still willing, and that's awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so I voted Democrat. I've been interested in politics since I was
Mhm.
14, so, like, the
Oh, good
2000
for you.
election. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I've also been aware of Donald Trump, like, this whole time, and so when he announced that I will say I was going to vote for Hillary, and then he
Mm.
announced that he was running, and I was like, "Oh, man, this is gonna be a good time watching this." I didn't expect him to get far, because
Yeah.
but then you look more into it, and it's like, actually, he has I mean, I do remember him weighing in on Obama when it was Obama and Hillary, which one was going to win the nomination then, and I do remember listening to his commentary on some of that, so I did
Mhm.
know that he had opinions and was, like, interested in keeping
Uh,
tabs on what's going on in the world politically, and he was friends with the Clintons at one point in
yeah,
time,
he was.
and I think he was a registered Democrat, if not, he donated to Democrat entities,
Uh,
um so knowing all of this and then to see that shift in 2015 where he's starting to say things that I like because I had moved from Iowa to Austin, Texas,
uh-huh.
and you really understand the immigration problem when you're living in Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
And I had just seen some things. Like I was vegetarian, but oh, vegetarian's not good enough. You should be vegan. It's like, oh, okay, so I can't even be a good liberal, I guess. But just the judgment, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I moved back to Iowa in 2015, still planning to vote for Hillary, and then I'm hearing Trump say things and I'm hearing the media spin it, and I'm hearing Rosie O'Donnell bash him when they were friends. I'm
Mhm.
hearing Hillary
Yes.
Clinton bash him when they were friends. He was on Whoopi Goldberg or not Whoopi, Oprah,
Yeah.
but he was on The View too. He was on The View, he was on Oprah. He's on
Uh,
all these shows. Everyone loved him until he
yeah.
decided to run as president as a
Yes.
Republican.
Yes.
And then, I have other friends like, "Oh, well, you're not old enough. You don't remember when he was in the clubs getting drunk and sexually harassing girls." And it's like, actually, President Trump or Donald Trump, whatever,
Uh-huh.
doesn't drink. So I don't know what you're
Right.
remembering.
Right.
Like so
Uh-huh.
whatever put that into your brain. I don't
Yes,
know.
you're right, he does
It
not drink. Yeah.
it was just so
Yeah.
strange to see everyone turn on him, and I couldn't understand why people older than me couldn't see that as well because
Yes. Yeah.
it there's not many people my age that were really into it, earlier to in the '90s to see interviews and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And, it's funny because you see quotes from them, from Hillary.
Mhm.
I don't remember exactly what she said, but it was, something along the lines, how what a great guy he is, and he'd make a great president someday, but there's quotes all over the place that all the
Yeah.
compliments she used to give him. And then, he kinda pulled back a little bit, and then when he decided to run, she's also quoted as saying, "If he wins, we'll all have a noose around our neck." And that's everywhere, you don't have to dig for that. So the fact that they were all friends with him until he was going to be in control, then they turned on him, I think that in itself speaks volumes.
Mhm.
And and listen, there's three big things that people talk about Trump supporters. Number one, that we're racist, just the opposite. I I don't care if you're green, blue, black, brown, whatever.
Yeah.
You're a good person. You're a good heart. You have a good heart. Come to my house. We're
Mhm.
not racist. The other thing is we like violence. All MAGA and all Trump supporters, I feel, have been very docile.
Yeah.
You don't see them blowing up buildings or blowing up cars or
Right.
attacking ICE agents. But the third, and this is the most important, is I feel his supporters still refer to them as a cult,
Mhm.
and I feel it's quite the opposite.
Yeah.
There's things he's doing right now I don't like. I
Right.
mean,
Right. Yeah.
exactly. And do I think he could be arrogant at times? Oh, you betcha.
Yeah.
And can he be pregatory? Absolutely. And again, there's things he's doing I don't agree with, and I think to myself, oh my God, why is he doing this? But
Yeah.
I also know he knows more than me. Um, so yeah, no, we're not a cult. And just the other day he was on, or not the other day, a few weeks ago when he gave a speech about how the price of groceries are going down. I'm like, where do you live? They're
I
going up
know.
where I live,
I
and it's
know.
like we're not afraid to say, oh no, 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 that's not true. We are far from a cult, far from a
Yeah.
cult,
Yeah.
and that stigma has been placed upon us, but I mean, I don't know. Again, the division is continuing, and
Mhm.
I would do anything for it to stop, but
Yeah.
hopefully it will. Hopefully it will. There's so much going on, but
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think that I mean, I don't like the in-party fighting that's going on with the Republican Party right now, but I do think that that right there is the greatest indicator that it's not a cult. The fact that we're
Yes.
allowed to have different opinions. Now, I wish we could work through them a little bit better,
Yeah, yeah,
but
for sure. Right.
you know,
Yeah.
um, with John Fetterman, it sounds like they're gonna try and oust him from the Democrat Party because he's not voting along party lines enough, and it's like, he's the
Mm,
only one saving you guys right now, so
right. Right. Yeah, definitely. He's been going up against them quite a bit. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
And he's getting heat for that from his own people.
Yep.
But but
So,
it's
oh, you go ahead.
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. So they say that it looks like there's a slim chance that the GOP is going to keep the House, but I I don't know. I have faith in them simply because of what the Democrat Party keeps doing. The shutdown, the
Mhm.
ousting of Fetterman, the one person who's making any sense. Like, people have been rejecting this far left crap, and they just keep leaning in on it. So
Yeah.
I don't know, we'll see what happens with the shutdown in Iran and all that.
I
And
I know, I agree, and I'll tell you what though, these are such turbulent and untraditional times that
Mhm.
I wonder if I say this with hesitation because obviously I don't know, but between Iran and Israel and the TSA and the ICE agents and everything going on,
Yeah.
I just I have a feeling I don't even know something might happen before the midterms. I just, as they say, oh, I feel like all hell's going to break loose some way,
Yeah.
somehow, somewhere, and that's why the was it the Homeland Security even has on their website, stay vigilant,
Mhm.
let us know if you see anything, and we're at high risk, and it's getting salty out there.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, I can't help but wonder if something extreme is going to happen before even the midterms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have heard that from several people now where it's like they say they don't know what's going to happen, but something big is going to happen. And
Yes.
I think it's just been building up for
Mhm.
a while now. And I don't know, maybe it's just all our own emotions, but something does seem off.
Yes, it does. It does. And then there's that, and Kash Patel even said it himself. It's been verified all the sleeper cells from
Yeah.
Iran, here in the U.S.
Mhm.
And, you try not to, you don't want to be like the MSM and fear monger, but there's some things you kind of got to take a look at, for
Yeah.
your own safety and you got to pay attention to. But
Yeah.
there's so much more going on behind the scenes. There's 100%. I think everybody feels that even everything we're hearing, everything we're seeing is not as it seems.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. And that I mean, and that is a big thing. There's been some things where I'm like Russia, Ukraine, for instance, it seems like that was a huge thing in the news for a long time, and now it's
Mhm.
almost been forgotten about it, but
Right.
there's
Yeah.
something happening behind the scenes with that we just
Mhm.
don't know about yet. We didn't really know too much about Iran before either
Right.
either
Mhm.
bombing, so sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to tell you about my sponsors real quick. Sometimes I get on a roll cleaning or gardening, and I need a boost but don't have time for a meal. Big Fork Brand's pork jerky is the perfect choice to keep my momentum, offering high protein snacks for on the go energy boosts. Not only do they offer pork jerky, but they also make pork sticks, bacon sausage, bacon hot dogs, and burger and hot dog sauces. Products come in a variety of delicious flavors, including Thai green curry and maple and brown sugar for the meat options, and gangster and Chicago fire for the sauces. I personally think the original flavor of the pork jerky hits just right after tackling a big chore. It's a little salty and very flavorful. My discount code gives you 20% off your entire order, and it's currently the best deal available. Just visit bigforkbrands.com and enter in my promo code JADE, that's JADE, at checkout. Are you looking for a gift for a music lover, or maybe some apparel to show off your quirky side? Old Glory has you covered. With over 300,000 officially licensed items covering music, sports, entertainment, and pop culture, you're guaranteed to find the perfect item. They even have seasonal gear. My husband enjoys the Beatles and Led Zeppelin apparel, and I love the Billy Idol apparel. I even found items for my fellow plant enthusiasts. This family owned superstore is known for their quality and customer service, offers free standard shipping on all orders, and orders are shipped the same day you purchase. My discount code gives you 15% off your entire order, and it's currently the best deal available. Just visit oldglory.com and enter in my promo code JADE, that's JADE, at checkout. Looking for a game-changing way to improve your health? Zevo Life is the world's most nutrient-dense whole plant, packed with over 50% plant protein, essential amino acids, fiber, and antioxidants. Harnessing the best nature has to offer, Zevo Life nourishes your body while driving your performance, vitality, and overall well-being. Each serving is a concentrated source of clean, well-balanced nutrition designed to support modern lifestyles, and just 1 teaspoon a day supports your gut, boosts energy, and promotes healthier skin and hair. It's no wonder that it's receiving rave 5-star reviews. Step into a healthier future with a 30% discount and a 30-day risk-free guarantee by visiting zivo.life and using my promo code. To support my show and to receive 30% off your entire order, enter in my promo code JADE, that's JADE, at checkout. So, what do you say with someone who completely disagrees with your perspective?
I tell them that is A-okay. You are
Yeah.
entitled to your opinion. And I had a friend once who her son, she's on the same page with me, and it frustrated her that her son is like, "Oh, mom, you're crazy. There's no way. There's no way." So she called me one day and she's like, "Sydney, you have a better way of talking. Can you please call him? Tell
Mhm.
him what we've learned. Tell him what we saw. Tell him about the videos we watched." And I came right out and said, "No." I says,
Yeah.
"'Cause you want me to convince him of our way, and
Yeah.
I won't do that." I
Yeah.
said, and the thing is, the way he feels, he did his own research. He is not one of those that sat in front of the TV all day. He's not.
Mhm.
He did his research and he stumbled upon a different truth than us.
Yeah.
So I told her, I says, just be thankful you have a child that knew to do his research, did
Yeah.
not get brainwashed by the propaganda and everything that's on TV. I said, he is allowed to feel that way.
Mhm.
And I says, what you want me to do, you want me to do the same thing as the mainstream media did to people, and I won't do it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I myself, I have one son who's on the same page with everything with me, 100%. The
Mhm.
world is not as it seems. There's much more going on. There's so many rabbit holes you can go down with the financial system, everything.
Yeah.
And he's done them all. His ending is he right now he is no way, shape, or form a fan of Trump. And I tell him, I'm like, Adam, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
Because, I still trust Trump. And he's like, Mom, I'm like, honey, we'll just agree to disagree.
Yeah.
It is what it is. So if I have someone that's really angry on the left and who read my book and wants to combat with me or debate, I'll just
Mhm.
walk away. I'll just walk away. I'll just, again,
Yeah.
that's up to you. If that's how you feel, if that's what you want to believe, that's fine.
Yeah.
But I don't want to fight over it. I don't want to debate it. And
Yeah.
that would be totally, hypocritical of my book. I literally say in there how I'm dying for people to unite again. So I'm not going to have an argument, and I will never try to convince someone of my way. And first of
Yeah.
all, I don't have military and clearance, so I don't even know if my way is correct, or
Right.
my thoughts, I should say, not my way, my thoughts. But I think it's important, and I
Mhm.
think it's important to know the possibilities of what could be going on,
Yeah.
with the conspiracy theories and the human trafficking and everything. I feel it's important for people
Mhm.
to see, hey, this or this could possibly be happen.
Yeah.
And and like I said, a lot of this stuff has been proven.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah.
Right. And that's I'm happy a lot of the stuff has been proven because it just
Uh-huh.
I'll never forget I graduated in from with my bachelor's in May of 2020. And I'll never forget the going up to spring break, how it was like, well, you might not come back to class after spring break. And I was so mad because it's like, man, I went to back to school when I was 30. Like, I'm finally getting my bachelor's degree, and now this is screwing
Oh,
up my
yeah.
graduation. And I wasn't
Oh,
married
right.
yet or anything. I just wanted like
Uh-huh.
one big event for my family to see me accomplish. And
Right.
I don't know if it was the bitterness or the fact that I went to school for biology and earth science that everything with COVID, I was suspicious about. And then, like,
Mhm.
since I did have access to, my student access to the online libraries and journals, the President Trump was talking about hydroxychloroquine being a good medicine, and I was trying to post all of this information to
Uh-huh.
be beneficial for people, and I got shadow banned, so no one could see it unless they went to my profile,
Mhm.
and, it just the whole misinformation, disinformation crap, and it's
Right.
like, okay, so all of these doctors and anyone who studied biology is just supposed to pretend herd immunity doesn't exist?
Mhm.
Like, it was just crazy because it's like,
Yep.
I'm not the crazy one, though. Like, you guys just taught me this stuff, and now I'm supposed to pretend like I didn't like,
Right.
none of this is real? Like, so
Right.
did I just waste my education? It's just I
Yeah.
don't know, and so it's tough, and, so my husband and I started dating in September of 2019, and again, I'm in my, like, lower 30s at that point, and you're not supposed to talk about politics or anything. I just
Mhm.
asked him, I'm like, "I need to know before we go on another date. I'm too old for this, and this stuff's
Oh, I
just too
love it.
wild.
Yeah.
What like, you don't have to be in politics, but, like, how do you vote? What are you doing?" Like, and
Yeah.
I was just like, "Okay, cool. We can continue to see each other," because
Yes.
I just didn't have time to go down that road trying to date somebody who didn't agree with me,
Yeah.
I guess,
That was smart of you. Yes. And it is funny because, back in my days when, you meet somebody, it's like, what's your sign? What's your
Yeah, yeah,
horoscope? And nowadays it's like, okay, what side are you on, left or right? And it's like,
right.
yeah, it's weird. And even I remember when I was a kid, one parent would vote for someone
Yeah,
and then another parent would vote for a different
yeah,
guy. And when the results came out, "Oh, congratulations, your guy won. You wanna go out to dinner." End of
yeah,
story. And,
yeah,
Not anymore.
No.
Not anymore. No.
I
And
I just wonder how they do it nowadays if
right.
they're not
I
voting
know.
the same, you know?
I
But
know. And I'll tell you, because it's so intense,
uh-huh.
me and my husband are on the same page. I'll be the first to admit, I I don't if one of us were complete opposite, I don't know how that would go living under the same roof 24/7. That would be
Yeah,
hard. That would be hard, very hard.
right.
And, I'm glad I didn't have to go through that. But, I do again, back to my chat rooms, I do believe there are couples that this broke up, and
Yeah.
that's
That's
horrible.
so sad.
That is
Yeah.
sad. It's so sad.
Yeah.
And, even the disowning, to disown someone over this,
Yeah.
it's I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. But,
Yeah.
that's I feel like so many things have been done to us. There's been so much indoctrination, uh, that pretty much did take away family values. I
Mhm.
really do. I think there's been a lot over the years,
Yeah.
it's sad.
Yeah. Yep,
Yeah.
I agree. Things have changed quite a lot. Um, and politics are being discussed in places where it no one it didn't used to be everywhere.
Mhm.
I don't remember it being everywhere 20 years ago. And actually, like, when me being interested in politics was kind of a unique thing back in the
Uh-huh.
day. Now everyone's a political expert, you know?
Yeah. Well, I get it. So I wanted nothing to do with politics. Nothing. I
Yeah.
kind of I kind of woke up a little, but not hugely in 2008.
Mhm.
The economy took a crash. My husband lost his job. He
Yeah.
was in construction. But my kids were still little then. You get busy. You get
Yeah.
busy with, the baseball game, the soccer games, the homework. And but something felt off then. It's like,
Yeah.
all the banks collapsed. New construction came to a halt. It
Yeah.
was horrible. We knew people, good people, who lost everything and had to take his wife and kids and live in the basement of their parents' house. I mean, like, it felt like almost overnight.
Yeah.
And something seemed off to me, and I was blaming Obama with
Yeah.
no proof. I would no proof. It was just something in my gut.
Mhm.
And everyone was telling me, "You can't blame Obama, it's the banks." Well, go down that rabbit hole, Sam, if you're ever bored. Fast forward to today. Oh no, it was 100% Obama. So
Yeah,
my
'cause
gut,
yeah.
yeah, my gut was right back then. But I didn't dig into. But other than that, I wanted nothing to do with politics.
Yeah.
I didn't dig into it till 2019.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I give you
Yeah.
credit for being into it at such a
Yeah.
young age. Not too many people are.
Yeah. And I still there's still things which is normal. I still agree with the left on a lot of
Uh-huh,
things, like the
uh-huh,
environment and animal welfare, like that's still an important thing. But
uh-huh.
I'm sure a lot of people on the left don't know this. The Trump administration has done so much for animal welfare. Maybe not for the environment, but for animal
Yeah,
welfare, they've stopped the animal testing and
yeah.
the FDA just announced that yesterday. Was it yesterday? But they've
Okay,
been working on it. But
okay.
anyways. So,
Yeah,
one thing that I've noticed, is s how there are some people I don't know if it's, like, being emotionally sound can help you have friendships or good relationships with people who think differently than you politically, but because I have a friend who's very much on the left, I'm on the right, her brother's an independent. And so I feel like he's kinda going at us both, and
yeah.
he's great,
He's the mediator. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's never any fighting between the 3 of
That's
us,
that's
and
awesome. Yes,
yeah,
that's the
and
way
me
it
and my
should
friend
be.
Right, and
Yeah.
so we just don't talk about politics because it's like, well,
Right.
we're never going to agree with each other, but
Mhm.
then I have other friends that they would before they just stopped hanging out with us, they would bring it up into every single conversation, and then
Yeah.
they'd, "Oh, well, so and so, they're always bringing up politics," and it's like, "Actually, you guys are the ones bringing it up in every single conversation," and if you try to sit down and have a conversation with them, they would never meet me in the middle. They would never
Right.
find something that we could agree on, And it's like,
Mhm.
well, then what's the point then? Because
Right.
I'm meeting you in the middle. I'm here. I'm trying to talk. I'm trying to find something and you're just sitting there, you know.
Yep. Right.
So, I had some delete me cuz I just simply for voting for Trump. Others just kind of silently stop talking. I
Mhm.
will say I'm happier without them in my life now.
You know,
So,
they yes, the ones that you don't even know and they don't bring it up, awesome. But the
yeah.
ones that always bring it up and they're very, very far left,
Mhm.
it can be mentally exhausting, 100%. It
Yeah.
wipes you out. I knew someone that she was she was very far left,
Mhm.
and she worked from home, and in the background all day every day was MSM, and I would have to call her regarding something, and she would say she knew where I stood. I never said where I stood,
Yeah.
but she knew where I stood just because we have mutual friends, and
Mhm.
every time she would comment and uh, tell me about her people, I wouldn't
Yeah.
respond. So she knew where I stood, but it was never talked about. But every time I would call her regarding something else, well, good thing you called when you did. You saved me. Because guess what? I heard CNN. Do you know what that blah, blah, blah wants to do? Talking about Trump, every. And I'm like, oh, really? I said, I haven't heard that. And to be honest with you, Sam, I did. So I
Yeah.
just didn't want to get into it. So I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And I said, so, anyways, the reason why I'm calling, she's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. But, anyways, and she'd keep going on and on.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So then I would try to drop the subject. Hey, I heard so and so went to Hawaii. Yeah, I guess. So, anyways, but this is the funny part. She did that all the time. Finally got to the
Uh-huh.
point I stopped calling her. The funny part, though, is at the end of every one of those rants,
Yeah.
she would always say, and freedom of speech has gone too far. And I used to think to myself, that's not true. Everyone's afraid to talk, but I didn't
Yeah.
say anything. She goes, yeah, she goes, these darn yahoos, she's called them yahoos that vote for Trump. Everywhere you go and every time you talk to them, all they want to do is bring up politics and Trump.
Oh my
You
god.
can't get them to shut up.
Yeah.
And I remember at that point, I literally took my phone and went, because that's what she does. Because so the hypocrisy is on steroids,
Yeah.
so hypocritical. So people like her, it mentally exhausted me. And it got to a point I just pulled away. But I never responded.
Yeah.
And then there's other people that I know. Um, when all this first happened, someone that I used to see on a daily basis and we go to lunch with sometimes, I did
Yeah.
not realize she was a Biden supporter and a liberal till like 7 months after the 2020 election.
Wow.
Because, like, that's how she didn't talk about it. She was down to earth.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's perfect. You know what? Yeah, perfect. And I never talked about it, so she never knew where I stood. And that's the way I wish everybody would be. I
Mhm.
really do, on the left and the right. But I do feel there are a little bit more on the left that inject it into everyday life,
Yeah.
with just even the attacking of the ICE agents and the videos that are out there. And
Yeah.
it's a sad world we live in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do know that there are people on the far right, and I don't wanna associate with them either,
Mhm.
but I don't know anyone personally. I guess I don't think I've run into anybody that's like that. That's the hateful part of the far right or anything.
Um,
Um, and
I
it but
and I'm not just saying this. There's people that are extremely aggravated far right. They usually keep it to themselves.
yeah.
Usually, I'm sure there's a few that go nuts
Yeah.
on Facebook, but like the people I know, I mean, they have more of the we do. That's why I said it. So when they call us violent, it's like it couldn't be any more far from the truth.
Yes, and that is what bothers me also. I was just learning about, was it the church bombing where, Trump had to hide in a bunker and people breached the Capitol that day too, but you don't hear anything about it. We have
Mm.
the one incident of January 6th, which was really weird anyways, and we're labeled violent because of that one thing, yet the
And
left
it's all yeah,
burns
and it's already
cities
been
down.
right, and it's already been proven that we were set up on January 6th.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was not us. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but of course they're not reporting on that either. So,
Right,
and
right.
then I asked a family member on the left. I was like, "Did you know that people on the right were murdered during the Summer of Love George Floyd riots? Like someone was
Mhm,
shot and killed because he was wearing a MAGA hat." And he's like, "No, I had no idea." And it's just
mhm.
so
They don't show you that.
why are we the
Right,
ones labeled violent? But
right. I know, I
anyways.
know. Yeah, I know, it's sad.
uh,
It's sad. But let's hope I don't wanna say the end. I was gonna say let's hope the end is near, but I've been saying that since 2020, so I'm
I
not gonna
know.
say that anymore.
I
You
know.
know, you live life, you do your normal activities and you go about it, and, all you can do is like you're helping people, you got your podcast. I'm
Mhm.
hoping my book helps people,
Yeah.
um, and just try to stay positive and, try to just stay alert, I guess. That's all you
Yeah.
can do. Yeah.
So, would you wanna tell the audience a little bit more about, I guess, kind of the main things that you wrote about in your book?
Sure. Again, I will repeat, it's not for the faint of heart.
Uh-huh.
Some of the conspiracy theories that I've stumbled across are pretty intense, and
Mhm.
I don't sugarcoat it. And so what I did is I first started off where just given a little of what I noticed before the election. Then the election, I saw the vote slips, and then it's in detail of the Senate hearings.
Uh-huh.
And then you'll hear me go down the rabbit holes. And, a lot of things, this is a military operation, and anybody, you know, and in book two, sorry, I
Mhm.
know I'm digressing a little bit. Book two,
No, you're okay.
um, I feel like we're all living in some sort of a psyop. There's like three psyops going on, and no one really knows which one's the correct one. I still feel the one I'm following is correct, but I could be wrong. And so
Right.
that's in book two. But so yeah, book one is mostly just what I discovered and praying for you for your, for
Mhm.
unity. And then book two starts after the 2024 election, just recently, the one
Yeah.
Trump won again. And so that goes on for like a year. And I'm working currently on book three. I'm halfway through book three.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's it is interesting that this has spanned for so long. That
Hmm.
I mean, just the, Trump's involvement in politics for so long.
Yes.
Do you think things will calm down if we let's say we they're not going to, but let's say we have, it didn't calm down when we had a Democrat president. When Biden was president, it never calmed down. Trump, even before he said he was gonna run again, was in the news every dang day for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Let's say we
Oh,
get
when you say calm down, do you think we'll ever leave him alone type thing or stop going after him? Is that what you mean? Like
Yeah,
just
well,
yeah.
that, but also the divide politically. Do
Yeah.
you think it will ever stop when Trump is out of office?
You know, I that's in book 2. I literally wondered that about a year ago.
Yeah.
In the beginning, I'm like, once everyone full disclosures comes out and they see the proof of how because Sam, I don't even feel this is a Republican Democrat thing anymore.
Yeah.
We're past that. This is a good versus evil. And
Yeah.
I feel like if disclosures come out about the true evilness,
Mhm.
that would unite everyone. And then I want to say maybe about a year ago, actually it was Charlie Kirk. When I
Yeah.
saw people happy that Charlie Kirk was killed,
Mhm.
that's when I'm like, oh boy, we might be past the whole unity thing. I mean, I don't care
Yeah.
what side you're on. How can you be happy over another human being being killed?
Right.
I will never understand that. I will never understand that. And there's a lot of different things with that. Now,
Mhm.
like they just said, the gun didn't shoot it. I mean, so there's
Yeah.
conspiracies regarding that. But either way, the public truly believes, or that he was killed. And
Yeah.
people, the far left were dancing in the streets.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I do feel if we all unite again as a nation, I feel there's going to be a percentage that no, they'll never unite.
Yeah. It's too
Mm-mm.
far. Some of them are
Yeah,
too far gone.
right,
It's
right.
you
Yeah.
know, and it I don't always know exactly what I believe, if I believe in evil, but things have changed these past few years where for a while I wasn't sure if I believed in like, like demons and stuff like that. And
Mhm,
I wasn't sure I believed that God had as much of an impact on our lives as maybe others believed. And then the the day that Trump was shot and he just turned his head and that's what saved his life. That turned me around a bit for
mhm.
the God's impact. And then like you said, the day that Charlie Kirk died and people were celebrating,
Yes, that blew me
that's
away. Yeah.
yes. And also seeing people turn their eyes on evil things, some
Mhm.
of this Epstein file stuff,
Yes,
and I mean, there's some really sick things
right.
out there, and yeah,
And
to celebrate someone dying is just
yeah, and that
yeah,
that's yes, we all have difference of opinions with politics, right, left, whatever, good versus evil, but
hmm
morals, integrity, common sense, that should be
yeah,
universal. That should be across the board. You don't chair if you hear somebody is killed. You
right,
just you don't celebrate it. I
yeah,
don't know. And back to the whole uh the ear for President Trump,
uh
you
huh,
know, and it's true. CNN never covered any of his rallies except for that
right,
one.
right.
Yes.
That's just so weird. And then
That's not a coincidence.
the fact that
Yeah.
Tucker Carlson can come up with more information on that guy, on Thomas Crooks, than, like, the
Uh-huh.
FBI came out with, I'm like,
What's
what is
going
going
on?
on here? I'm
Yes.
having a hard time trusting the Department of Justice and the FBI right now, for
Mhm.
various reasons, and I don't know. Y Like we've said several times, we don't know everything.
Right.
There
And there's no way we
so
can. Right. Right.
so there could be so much going on, that's having an impact on how they handle these cases that we just don't understand because we don't know.
Right. And that's why I there's so much more going on than and I just got to hope and stay positive like we all should that when the time's right, there'll be disclosures. I'm
Yeah,
hoping that's the case. I'm hoping there's accountability
yeah,
and cuz too much has been proven about the corruption and everything else and we need to see arrests.
yes.
Yes.
That too. That
Yes.
too. I'm
Right.
just want
On both sides, I
yeah,
mean, the crooked Republicans are called rhinos, it's not
mhm,
just Democrat. We
yeah.
need we need the evil arrested.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I think that that is one thing that people are forgetting, just because the Republicans might be in charge right now, just because they're the ones looking into it. A
Uh-huh.
lot of these people have been in politics for
Mhm.
multiple decades,
Right.
and this problem persisted that
Mm,
entire time. So I mean, people on both sides do have a part
right.
to play in a lot of this, like the fraud and
Absolutely.
yeah.
And I'll tell you what, from my point of view, right now, the rhinos scare me a little bit more than the Democrats.
Yeah.
Because the Democrats, I feel like they've already shown their true
Mhm.
colors. You know what they're about. The rhinos, a lot of them they feel if that R is behind their name, that'll get them in.
Yeah.
But their ways and the ways they want to do things are still evil, and they have, you know, evil and democratic ideologies. And it's like, yeah, those Republicans that slip in saying they're for we the people, but they're not, they
Right.
scare me more. They
Yeah.
scare me more. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. And there is something that I do appreciate at least with like AOC gets brought up a lot. I think
Mhm.
she fully believes everything she says and she's
That's
fighting for
scary.
Right, I know.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
But she's honest at least. She's fighting for
Yeah.
what she believes, and she kind of
Uh-huh.
figures out a way to do it. Whereas a lot of these people, they don't they're going along because they're being told to and
Mhm.
that's where it gets a little
Mhm.
shady. But
Right. Right.
yeah, at
Right.
least you know what some of these people like her are at face value. They've shown who they are.
Right.
Um, just like
Yeah.
you said. So,
Mhm.
is there anything else you'd like the audience to know?
Um, no, just, uh, always keep your head on a swivel. We're not out
Yeah.
of the woods yet. We're far from it.
Yeah.
And, if any of your listeners does have a family member that does not treat them well, or they feel they're being treated poorly or rudely or just a cold
Mhm.
shoulder, um, try telling them to read my book. And for
Yeah.
the people that are on this side and have gone down the conspiracy theories, they'll be able to relate because I put in there how we felt. Everyone will be
Yeah.
able to relate. And actually, someone I know did buy 5 books, and 3 of them were for family members that were far left. One of
Okay.
them read like 2 pages, threw it in the trash.
Oh, no.
The other one did call her and said what I was telling you earlier. She
Yeah.
goes, "Okay, listen, I might not agree, but it's something to look into. Something
Yeah.
to look into, and now I get where you're coming from." And then the third person didn't read it, and then the other 2 were just for her and her husband.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good learning tool. And the second book is not coming out till April 23rd, which is, I guess, right around the corner.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and that one is called The Golden Age Rising,
Okay.
and the first one is Awakening A Patriot's Diary of American Deception. That one's on Amazon right now.
Okay.
Yeah,
Perfect.
yeah,
Perfect. So
yeah.
I will be sure to include the links in the show notes and
Okay,
yeah,
perfect.
get that spread out for you. I think that would be
Yeah,
a really good book for a lot of people. So,
yeah. Thank you. And I'll tell you, I enjoyed your show, and I love how you started this
oh
and
yeah, thank you.
letting people talk. And yeah, and I went through your stuff. You had a lot of great guests, so good for
Oh,
you.
yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
Thanks. I really
yeah.
appreciate that. So,
Sure.
well, yeah, when your second book's out, if you want to come back and talk, I'd love to talk to you some more. There I don't get very many female guests. And so it's
Oh,
kind of a
okay.
nice change up. So,
Oh, good,
yeah.
good. Okay.
So,
Yeah, I would
yeah.
love to come back for sure.
Awesome. Awesome. Reach out
Okay.
anytime. Otherwise,
You
I'll
got it.
message you at some point.
Sounds
So,
good. Sounds
all
good.
right. Perfect.
Okay. Thank you,
Yeah.
Sam.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
I'll talk to you soon. All right.
Sounds good. All right. Bye bye.
Bye bye.